about LaShawn Daniels there, and he just kind of arrived on campus last summer and kind of walked in. How much upward mobility is it for him when you've got such a deep backfield, which hasn't always been a luxury, and when it has been sometimes attrition has taken its toll.
Yeah, and we've never had too many good players in any position. I hope we do at some point. But you know, the thing about him, just the way he's carrying himself now, you know, you can see him, he's growing a little bit, and it's just, you know, especially the guys that are that just had their first fall here. You know, it's a big turning point. And it's probably that way on every campus. You know, once the guys get the routine of going to college, and but one of the reasons we played him last year was he seemed to handle everything pretty much in stride. Didn't seem to be overwhelmed at any given time, and eager to see him on the field too, because I think, you know, we'll probably see a guy that's even more confident, more decisive out there. He's really had a good winter, worked hard. You know, so he's a guy that's always seems to be very upbeat and just likes football. So we're eager to watch him.
With tight end, is it something where you kind of go back to what you did before, where you mostly played two guys, or is it something where you look to still get everybody involved since you had 4 of the 5 returning?
Yeah, I think all 4 of those guys will play, and I think they'll have roles. And we like to play multiple tight ends, so that's good for them. But we only like to do it if we have guys that you can put in there. And yeah, so we're eager to see all those guys go. And you know, John Wisniewski's a really intriguing guy too. He had a nice month of December, and you know, he certainly, from what we saw, fits right in there with that other group. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see what they do. You know, we won't have a CJ, and CJ was an outstanding football player, and you know, I think he'll play for a long time moving forward. But I think, you know, we'll have enough guys in that group, but you know, somebody's got to make those catches in the red zone, and some things that CJ did so well too. So we got to find a way to get an answer there.
What does CJ Fedorowicz have that compares favorably to past tight ends that you had that have been successful at the next level?
Well, you know, they're all kind of different stories. You know, Dallas Clark's a very different player than CJ. You know, almost totally different. But to find guys that have the ability to block like CJ does, and it's kind of interesting to me because that was not his forte in high school. You know, he's more of a wideout actually. But I've told people that have come through that just, you know, the thing about him, he was always willing. He always worked hard in practice and developed into a really good blocker. So there's a lot of value in that because it's hard to find guys that will do that in the National Football League that can do that. And then, yeah, he's still got good skills as a receiver, and he's a great target, especially down the red zone. Tough to cover that guy. So I think he's got a lot of real upside. And he's a very different player than Dallas, or even you know, I think about Chandler. You know, different type of guy there too. So it's you know, it's all fun to, you know. But there are a lot of different styles of players that play well.
Does Andrew Donnell step into some pretty big shoes? I mean, you guys have had a pretty good run at right tackle. I mean, people talk about left tackle all the time, but right tackle been pretty good too.
And you know, he's Andrew's actually a player that we think is probably better suited to play tackle, and he did a good job at guard. And both he and Brandon, when they got hurt a year ago, I think it was October. I'm pretty sure it was October. Yeah, that was tough on both those guys. I mean, obviously they had to go through the rehab and all that stuff, and Andrews lingered a little bit longer, so you know, it impedes development. And I really think all of us felt like in November he really just started, you know, things started happening for him. He's practicing at a faster rate and all that kind of thing. So fortunately last year it worked out really well, and he played well for us when he was in there. But I think he's ready to, you know, we have all confidence in the world he'll play well for us. I don't think he's overwhelmed at all, and you know, he's excited about it. So and I think he's totally comfortable out there at the tackle position.
How important is it that their staff remained intact over the winter? And how do you feel in terms of your ability to compete with respect to compensation going forward, given the almost exponential growth in assistants pay, even in the Big Ten?
Well, you know, it's on the staff itself. You know, we went through a period here, as I said before. You know, we had a 2-year transition, if you will. Both with Norm's retirement and then Ken going to Miami. So, you know, we've kind of reinvented ourselves in some ways, if you will, and you know, I feel like we're loaded up for the next decade. I don't know how the assistants feel, but that's why I'm looking. I think we got a group that's really, and it really came together really quickly last spring. I was pleased with just how well everybody meshed during spring practice. And that's not only coaches and coaches, but players and coaches. Just the whole thing ran pretty smoothly. So, you know, moving forward, I think you know, I'm excited about the group that we have. They're a great group of guys, and they work really well with our players. And in a perfect world, I'd love to keep them all together forever, you know. But it doesn't work that way. Guys do retire, and sometimes guys leave. Ron Aiken left, and good things have happened to him, and that's part of the game. So, changes at the end of the world. Sometimes new people with new ideas is good, but overall, you still, I think, want a stable environment for your players, and your players, I think it's healthy. When they get recruited, they know what they're going to go to. We try to be as transparent. That's a big popular word nowadays. We try to be as clear as possible about what it is we expect when a player comes here and what they're going to have to do and how hard it is, because it is hard to be a Division I athlete in any sport. People don't realize just how hard it is. So we try to be really clear about that. But I think it's nice when the players get here and they know that they can count what they heard and what they saw is going to be in place throughout their entire careers. Not that you change this, you change that, but philosophically, I think we're not looking for our identity. I think we have a good idea of who we're trying to be and what we want to do. And so the key thing is everybody in the coaching staff and support staff being on the same page and understanding, hey, this is what we're trying to get done here when a player's on campus, and we're here to try to help them get some things accomplished.
Nico Law's a senior, and he's been right around starter seemingly his whole career.
Yep.
How do you keep a guy like that engaged? I know that contributions can come from any time, anywhere.
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, nothing's been established yet. He's welcome to beat Johnny out, and it could be that he beats Jordan Lomax out. Maybe Johnny goes to free safety, and so that's something we all talk about as a staff. We want to keep an open mind. Our job is to get the best 11 guys out there on any situation. So, and I think that's what players expect and want. And it's fair to want that, and they want to compete. And at the end of the day, not everybody is going to start. That's the reality of college football. But the best guys have to earn it on the field. That's what it's all about. But we're starting over from scratch right now. And Brandon Sheriff to me is he was our team MVP last year. It says a lot about our team, I guess. Right, our left tackle is our MVP. But I expect him to practice, and he will. I know he will. He'll practice harder than anybody out there. But that's what guys should do, and they should compete and try to get as good as they can get.
You mentioned it a little bit with the wide receivers, but having the extra month of practice this year through the bowl game to see some of the younger guys, how much further along are some of the younger guys this year compared to last year when you didn't have that?
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining last year is we got an extra 3 weeks of training. You got to spin it somehow and make it a positive, so we got that. But I obviously prefer to be on the field. Still training where we're not practicing a little bit, but it was good just to, you get an exposure to some players you don't get to see necessarily during the season. You see them on the look team, but that's not nearly the same as watching them operate in your system of play. So, it's a really great learning experience for those guys. So hopefully they'll be further ahead today when we hit the field than they would have been had we not been out there.
Kirk, in the last couple of off seasons, you've had Carl Davis and Louis Trinket kind of fought through off season injuries or rehabs and what have you. How healthy are they now, and what's the ceiling for them? I mean, can they be kind of the same kind of tandem that you've had in the past, where you've had some really great tandems?
Yeah, I think Louis is not Matt Kroll, but he's a Matt Kroll type guy, and then I think he flies under the radar a little bit. But boy, what he contributes and adds to our team is so valuable. It's not the same as Brett Van Sloten, but kind of like that in that everybody's got such strong respect for Louis, and he took his lumps 2 years ago, but last year he played really well. So obviously we expect that, and I just talked about the way Sheriff does things. Louis kind of that same kind of guy, and then Carl. It was a huge step for Carl to get out there and actually play, and I think he learned a lot about himself, and now he's got higher expectations than he did a year ago for sure. So that's a nice thing about playing and learning that you can do this, but also that you can be even better if you work at it. And I think he better understands how to work at it now than he did a year ago. And that's experience. That's something that's hard to just hand a guy. They have to kind of go through that to learn that.